Welcome to Elementary. I hope you're having a fabulous day from wherever you're watching. I am super delighted today for my guest, and I hope you will be happy too. Today I have an extreme to share with you, and I can't wait to interview this guest of mine. Hi there, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you again for coming on the show. And I guess we'll get started so we can share what you. So let's introduce yourself. Let's start by introducing yourself and your Instagram handle.
Hi, everyone. Namaste. I'm actually Veronica. My Instagram profile is known as VS Reiki Master 36. This is how I get connected with my followers as well as my clients when they need to reach out to me about Reiki healing.
Perfect. So I want to thank all of you for joining today. Like this Instagram live is I couldn't wait to share it, and I had to do like a little bit of a video in advance, and so I hope you'll enjoy the show. So perhaps maybe to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been practicing Reiki.
So I'm actually was introduced to Reiki 3 years ago, and I've been practicing Reiki ever since then. So it has been 3 years since I started my journey as a Reiki healer. And the good news is this year I'm able to complete my level as a master in Reiki, which is the advanced level in Reiki.
Excellent. That's so awesome. So I know, for some people, they may not know what Reiki is all about, but for some others, can you provide us an overview of Reiki for those who may not be familiar with it? Maybe what are some of the fundamental philosophies behind Reiki?
Of course. Reiki itself, the word itself stands for the universal force, life of energy. So basically the fundamental of Reiki is everything is made of energy. And the healer, as a healer myself, we practice based on 5 fundamentals, which is the foundation of Reiki starts with meditation. Because this is important as a healer myself. I have to heal myself and create a state of balance within myself as well as ground my energy before I can help others to heal. So that is the first foundation of Reiki. The next one is when I'm performing a healing session, usually I utilize mantras and symbols. So as I was going through my journey to become a healer myself, I was introduced to different mantras at different level of Reiki when I was going through my Reiki attunement with my master. And the third foundation of Reiki is we use our palms as a healing source. So when I'm performing my healing session, the energy is channeled through the universe, and the energy will be transmitted through my palms to my clients. So basically, I act as a transmitter or a medium of the energy, and the energy just flows naturally through my palm to my recipients. And the fourth foundation of Reiki is we do attunement. So this is a process that happened during a process when a student or an energy seeker wanted to learn what is Reiki, and they want to become a healer themselves. So as a student, we will go through an attunement process with our master or our teacher that will teach about the foundation of Reiki, the history of Reiki, and then finally it will be ended with an attunement session. So what it means is the Reiki healer or the Reiki teacher who is at master level will actually download the energy to the student. And this is where the student will get energized, will get cleansed, and will go through a process of receiving the energy. And usually it will be felt by the student themselves in a vibration forms, in an energy forms. And the final foundation,
Go ahead.
And the final foundation is we do practice Reiki on 5 principles. So we always use this as a self mantra or self affirmation as a healer ourselves to practice in our daily life.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit. And thank you for giving us a detailed explanation. Could you explain the concepts of energy behind Reiki healing? Like, how does Reiki work to balance and heal the body's energy?
Okay, so the easy way to understand is this exists everywhere, surround us. You know, energy comes in a form that sometimes you can sense, sometimes you can feel, sometimes you can experience. But sadly, not all of us can see Reiki energy. So the Reiki energy comes from the universal life force. And when we perform a Reiki healing, the client or the recipient will feel it in an energy form as well. So that's how energy works, and that's how energy actually flows through the healer to the recipient themselves.
So, what does a typical Reiki session involve? Like, how would you create a comfortable and healing environment for your clients? Yeah.
So it all begins with an appointment, of course. So a client will reach out to me for the healing session, and I will payment time that works for both of us. So my healing session usually takes place in my home. This is where I have a healing room has been set up. So what happened is from the time we have connected, like myself with my client, I usually prepare my client ahead of the session. So usually I will suggest the healing. The client will be asked to hydrate themselves well, to have a very good sleep. I will sometimes send some healing music, because healing music actually generates frequency. So frequency, there are many types of frequency, and the type of frequency works very differently. It can be for mind or body or soul healing. So based on what I understand from my client, I will send specific type of frequency to begin the healing from their home base itself before even they come to my session. So this is just a preparation before a client come to my healing session. And sometimes lifestyle has a lot of impact on how the energy going to flow during the session. So sometimes if I know ahead of time that my client do smoke or they do drink alcohol, so sometimes I would give a suggestion, if they can reduce the amount of smoke or the alcohol before they come to session, that will actually help and benefits their client themselves. So from the time the client arrives, so the session will begin with a short interview session, mainly because I will try to understand what brought the client for the healing, as what is the goal that the client tried to achieve with the healing session, and what is the intention that we need to set specifically to be individualized for that client themselves. So once I understand what exactly the client is seeking from that session, more about how the session will be performed. So usually Reiki is being performed in a quiet environment, in a conducive room, where there will be a bed that the client has to lie down, and they will be provided with blanket and pillow, of course, to keep them warm and comfortable. And on top of that, I will also explain how the session will take place from the beginning until to the end, and what the client can expect. Now, just for the viewers to understand, every client comes to me with a very individualized reason, with a very individualized issues or problems, because everyone have their own journey in life, and everything that they is based on their own perception and experience that they had gathered over their life. So the experience that the client will experience is very individual. So usually I will give them a general guideline. What could they feel during the session? So a lot of time the client will feel a sensation of heat, or a sensation of a cool energy is flowing through their body, or even sometimes the client will feel like a current flowing throughout the body, or sometimes the client also will become very emotional and start crying, because crying is a form of healing, because when they bring out all this buried down emotion that they had piled up over the years, that is actually to help them to heal. So the experience that they will go through during the session, as I said, will be very individualized, but I will try to prepare them ahead of time so they don't get scared of what they're feeling, because they don't know what is happening to them at the time of the session. Now, once the client has lied down, we will begin the session. Usually I will have a healing music in the background. Sometimes I do incorporate other elements by using a healing bowl sound or candle lights to kind of strengthen the energy flows and also to initiate the Reiki healing. So usually, as I mentioned earlier, the healing is using the palms. The energy will be transmitted through the healer to the recipient by using the palms. The client can consent if they prefer a touch technique or a non-touch technique. Irregardless what technique they chose, the Reiki energy will flow through the body, and how much energy they will sense or how much energy the client will experience is totally controlled by the universe. I have no control what the client is going to experience or how they're going to feel, as well as the client. They just have to lie down there and they just have to be in a state of calmness, be open-minded and open to receive the Reiki energy. Just to share a lot of time, the moment I start my session by starting the healing music, most of my clients will fall asleep. And usually they stay asleep till to the end of the session. And sometimes I will just, after I ended my session, I would just let them to rest, because that is actually indicating the client is actually receiving the energy is flowing, and they are receiving the healing through that state of calmness.
Interesting. So I just wanted to let people know if they have any questions, they can drop it in the comments or in the question icon down below. I'm watching the chat, so if you do have questions, make sure you ask. We want to make sure we get we're able to answer it today. So Reiki is said to promote relaxation and stress reduction. And how does it help individuals manage stress and its associated effects on the body and the mind?
Thank you for asking this question. This is a very important question that usually what the healer will address with the client. As I shared earlier, when a client comes to me for healing, the important part is when I'm interviewing the client, trying to understand what brought them to the healing session. So if it is something related to, I usually classify any sort of stress or emotional imbalances as an emotional imbalance. Sometimes some clients do classify it as a mental health issues, but the way I look at it, it's just an imbalance in their mental health. So when a client comes to me saying they are experiencing stressful events or stressful emotions, it is a lot of time can be due to something that they had experienced throughout their life. It could be during their childhood, or something happened during their adulthood, could have created a memory of trauma or stress that they have carried along, and they don't know how to actually express it out. So by understanding that, as I explained earlier, I would play certain type of healing music, which will work on certain part of their chakra. So chakra means the energy center of the body. So when a client comes to me and say, I'm having this emotion or negative emotion or suffering from depression or suffering from stress, so I will play a specific music that actually tackle their crown chakras or their third eye chakras, because this is the energy center that's literally control our emotion, as well as their heart chakras, because a lot of stress, anger can be stored in the heart chakra. So usually this is how I will tackle the issues of emotional stress, by using certain type of frequency to help to penetrate deep into that energy centers, to help them to open up and to overcome that emotion imbalances. So when I able to tackle the root of the problem that triggered that type of stress emotionally, that will actually create a calmness, a state of calmness, or a state where the client can open up and they can talk about it freely with me. Or sometimes they will start crying. And as I said, crying actually releases and calm down the body physiologically. And eventually that will lead to a state of calmness for the body and the soul. So this is how the emotion is very directly correlated to how the body can go through a physiological changes. In fact, there were many studies done how emotional stress can lead to physiological or hormonal imbalances that can actually increase the stress hormone in the body and eventually lead to many other physical ailments, because that will lead to many other imbalances in human body.
It's very interesting. But how do you continue to deepen your understanding and practice of Reiki? Like, are there ongoing learning and personal development aspects as a Reiki master?
So, to answer that question, I want to just share why I became a Reiki healer in the first place. So, I've been working as a registered nurse for over 23 years now, and I've been working in many different departments in medical field. And I realized that indirectly I have been practicing some sort of energy healing just by my healing touch. So I have been saying that sometimes I just feel like I can do more than just being a nurse, just carrying on my medical, knowledge to help my client to heal. This is when I try to seek for what is out there that I can actually do more, but I still want to be in a field where I can help my clients to heal or others to heal. Now, having saying that, Reiki is not something that you can advance your knowledge just by reading a book. It is purely based on energy healing. It's purely based on hands-on practices. It's purely based on experiencing different experience as you are performing the energy healing for your clients, because every client will have a very different experiences. And as a healer myself, I experience every session very differently with each and every client that I have met in my practice. So the way I'm looking at it, to advance my practice, to advance my skill, and also to create a self-development for myself, is purely based on practicing more energy healing. I'm also trying to create a lot of awareness on Reiki, and one of it is I have been lately promoting online meditation session on every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time via my Instagram website. So this is just to bring more awareness and create more positive vibration, and also to help others to heal and reach out to more people out there.
Yeah. Excellent. So Reiki has various symbols and techniques, and could you explain some advanced practices within Reiki and how they differ from like some fundamental techniques, perhaps?
Of course. So the attunement process is divided into 3 processes. So when I started learning Reiki, so the first session is categorized or classified as a level 1 Reiki healing session. So during the first level 1 session, I was exposed to 2 main symbols in Reiki that I will use for to perform energy healing to others. So the symbol is known as Chokure, which is a power symbol, and Seihiki, which is a symbol that we use to purify and create balance for emotional imbalances. Now, once I finish that session, usually it comes down to practice. So as I said, Reiki is purely based on how much hands-on practices you're doing, because that will actually energize yourself as well as open yourself to the universal energy. So it takes me for about 3 to 4 months to practice that, and usually the practice will be done with my close friends, close family members. And then I went for my second level. So this is where I will learn another additional symbol, and this symbol is actually to be used for distance healing, which means I don't have to be really physically present to do an energy healing for somebody who is not in the same location. Mm-hmm. And literally, to be specific, I can do energy healing from anywhere around the world for somebody anywhere around the world. That's how powerful this symbol is. So this is the third symbol that I learned during the second Reiki, level 2 Reiki. And then finally, it took me 3 years later, I went for my master level. So this is where I was attuned to become a master. And during this attunement, I was taught a master symbol, which is Doi Komyo. And this symbol is usually used when the person become master themselves, to do an attunement to another student, and it usually only used for master attunement. There is also another symbol that was taught during this master level, which is known as Raku symbol. So Raku symbol is to ground the energy that has been transmitted or received by the recipient when they're going through the attunement process. So this is considered the advanced level of Reiki.
Okay, that's good. Some people might be skeptical about energy healing practices. How do you address skepticism and misconceptions about Reiki when discussing it with others?
Okay. Actually, to be honest, being skeptic is a very good thing. And I can correlate to that because I was skeptic myself at once before even I know what Reiki is all about. Now, being skeptic is one thing and being close-minded is another thing. You can be skeptic, but you still can be open to learn. Because when you are skeptical, it creates a curiosity within yourself that you want to know, what is this all about? What is Reiki all about? And this is how I started my journey as a seeker about Reiki, where it was very interesting how I was actually exposed or introduced to Reiki. Because what happened was, I was in this one fundraising event. This is where I came in contact with my master Reiki. And I had no idea what is Reiki is all about. All I was seeing was there were a few people sitting and hovering their palms over another person. And I was just wondering, what are they doing? And as I was interacting with my master, I got this strong current that started flowing through the base of my spine upward. And only I felt it. Of course, my master wouldn't know what I felt it. But that is something that I think I need to experience to open my mind to learn more and to seek the answer, what is Reiki about. So for those skeptical people out there, or they want to know more about Reiki, what I would say is experience talks more than words. So be open-minded, be open to try what is Reiki all about. Do your research, and talk to the right people. Like, I know sometimes there will be some misinformation or misconception about Reiki, but I believe experiencing Reiki yourself is more powerful than just explaining it in words. So that would be my advice to those who are skeptic out there, because this is how I became a believer myself after experiencing the energy flow within myself.
Perfect. We have a question, and I'm not quite sure if I understand, but I don't have to answer it. So maybe you understand it better. It says, according to Reiki, who do you believe the creator of the universal energy source that you are tapping into is?
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay.
So
you understand
if I
it,
understand that, if I understand it, I'm wondering if that question is focusing. Are you believing in God? Who is the creator of this universal force energy? I just hope I get that question right. If that
maybe clarify
that person
if by typing in
clarify.
the comment,
Yeah.
if that's what we're getting, and we'll move on, and then maybe clarify your question, and we'll come back to it.
For sure.
Can you share a particular meaningful transformation or a testimonial from a client who has experienced the benefits of Reiki under your guidance? I mean, no names, you don't have to name names, but just in general.
Right. Unfortunately, yeah, because it's confidential. So I would share one of my recent client who came to me. She's a young girl. She was in her early 20s. Sadly, she was going through a rough time in her relationship, that she broke up with her boyfriend at the time. And she was actually very negatively affected by that incident, that she literally started blaming herself for what happened. So when she came to me, she was very confused. She was just focusing on all the negative emotion or aspect that she thinks that is what led to that relationship to be broken. So when I seen her, of course, as how I explained how the session will be started. So we had a conversation, and of course, we set an intention for her. So obviously the intention that we set for her was, instead of focusing on all the negativity, start focusing what is positive about herself. And that is what the intention we set for her. And at the end of the session, she woken up with feeling very light, very focused, and having a clarity of what she needs to focus on and how to move on with her life, being single now, of course. And recently I connected with her just to find out how she's doing. She's doing amazing. She has been meeting new people in her life. She has been creating a healthy social group, interacting with different group of people, started exploring life more. Being a single woman, she's going out and exploring events on her own. And she said she is at the best state of positivity right now after the session. And I'm, hearing this kind of positive impact that Reiki brings to my client, I can never stop smiling. It's priceless.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess the question that was asked earlier, they say, where do you believe it comes from? I guess.
Okay, so Reiki is a universal force life of energy. So if you look into spiritualism, we don't say that Reiki was created by, we all have different faiths. There are Hindus, there are Christian, there are Muslims. So we don't say specifically Reiki was created by so and so. Like if you look, the easy way you can understand Reiki, where it comes from, think about sun. Sun is the source of universal energy, because without sun, there won't be any life on earth, right? Mm-hmm. So who created sun? Who created moon? Moon controls the tides of the ocean. No one ever say this moon was created by so and so. It just exists in cosmos. There are many other planets in cosmos that exist. There are many other stars that exist in cosmos that actually generates energy. In fact, a simple thing you can look at is just the ocean itself. You can generate energy from ocean. So who created the ocean? So however you believe where this energy comes down to, the foundation of Reiki, it comes from the universal energy. That's what Reiki is.
Right. Hope that answers your question. What advice would you give an individual who's considering experiencing Reiki for the first time or embarking on their own Reiki journey?
So for those who want to just experience a Reiki healing for themselves, the first thing I would suggest is be open about it. Don't set an expectation. Be open about it and be honest that you are truly wanting to go for this Reiki healing, because mind is the power. The thought that you're putting in your mind actually generates energy. In fact, there are many scientific studies being done how energy comes from the mind and how it affects everything else physically and emotionally. So be open about receiving a session, and if you need to have more information, you can connect with your healer ahead of time just to get more information and also to be aware how the session will work for you and how it's going to help you. Now, for those who are seeking to become a healer, the first important thing that I would suggest is meditate, because the base foundation, the ultimate foundation of Reiki is meditation. And the reason behind of it, you have to be grounded enough. You have to heal yourself first before you become a healer to heal others. For an example, a very simple example, if you're on a plane and if that something happened and there's an event of emergency, you were asked to apply the oxygen mask on yourself first before you apply it to the next person beside you. And that is the reason, because you can't help others if you don't help yourself first. So that foundation applies to Reiki as well. You have to ground yourself. You have to clean the energy blockages that you carry along within yourself first before you attune to the Reiki energy and become a healer for others.
Yeah, that's well said. Thank you. What continues to inspire you in your role as a Reiki master, and what message would you like to share with those who are drawn to the world of Reiki?
So what continues to inspire me is obviously, and I would say the most important thing is seeing someone else getting a positive impact from the session. When they have a positive change in their life and they're able to carry on the life in a positive manner, that is something that you can buy with money, right? It's priceless. And it is a true healing that I can give to someone because, as I said, as a nurse, sometimes I just feel, what can I do more for this person to heal this person emotionally? Because a lot of times we treat patients using medication, but we don't really know how to treat the core of the problem. And this is where Reiki comes into rescue, where I can actually tackle the core of emotional imbalances in a person. And of course, that is something that inspired me and also encouraging me to continue to do what I am doing today as a healer.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So that brings me to the end of my list of questions, and I had a lot of questions for you. So thank you for,
A lot of good questions. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to, check and see, did I miss something? Is there something you'd like to share before we wrap up today's session?
Yeah, just on that note, as a Reiki healer, we work along with the medical professionals. Having saying that, although you're seeking an energy healing, it doesn't mean we will replace any medical advice. So in fact, we are working along with a lot of medical professionals. So there are Reiki services are being openly provided in physiotherapist department nowadays. And especially in the US, there are a lot of nurses and doctors started practicing Reiki on their patients. And it is being utilized in the lines of other medical practices. So, so if you are seeking an energy healing, I would also recommend always, if you have a medical condition, also get an opinion from your doctors, and then we can work in hand to hand with the doctors as well to help and aid the healing for yourself.
So before we wrap up today, where can people reach you? Like if they want to book a session or they just want to learn more, where can they reach you?
So one of the ways you can reach me, of course, on my Instagram, which is VS Reiki Master 36, or you can reach out to my WhatsApp via my cell number, which is 647-966-1859. In fact, I do have a WhatsApp business app that actually I do have a list of what are the services being provided, and also the information on the fees and so on.
Excellent. So I want to thank you for coming on. Like I mentioned before we started, I think this was a very special session that I wanted people to come on, and if they're not able to join, to at least get to hear a little bit more about and get curious. If nothing else, get curious, right? Like you said, medication can be applied to one aspect of whatever you're going through, but there's another aspect, right, that deals with much more. And so thank you so much for your time today. I so appreciate it. I took a lot of your time, and I'm so thankful that you agreed to come on and do this session with me. And I'd love to do another one as a follow-up session sometime soon. And for all of you watching, I'm always very grateful for you spending your evening, your dinner hour with me, or your drive home with me and my guest. And I am always thankful for the encouragement, support, for you coming on and being part of the show. And if you have questions, if you have a topic you'd like me to explore a bit further, reach out, DM me, let me know a topic of interest, and I'm happy to unpack that for you. But until next time, I want to thank you for joining the session today. Thank you so much. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining, and I'm wishing peace, love, and healing to all the viewers. Have a good day.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.